Alright, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we're going to be bringing you a top 10. It's going to be the top 10 most hated characters in One Piece. And One Piece, obviously, it's been going around for about almost 25 years now. I think it's been in serialization since about 1997, so that's before I was born, just to give you a little premise there. And when a series becomes super long like that, you know, you get introduced to many different characters, many different plot structures, and, you know, for the series as a whole, it's just so long, so you get a lot of good and a lot of bad. And we're going to be focusing on the negative side of things today, so without further ado, let's get into it with the number 10 most hated character. Into the number 10 spot, and you know, just to preference this, there are going to be some spoilers for Wano, so if you don't want to hear this, skip ahead. But the number 10 spot, we have Kurozumi Orochi, and oh my god, what can I say about this guy? We're going to keep all of these brief, but I just hate this guy so much. The second I saw him, and you know, his design with his like balding little fucking head, his top knot, you know, and his SpongeBob buck teeth, I knew right away, like, I did not like this guy, and his personality is only worse. Throughout his time, like, when we first see him in the backstory anyway, about like 20 years ago, he was working for Yasuie, and he's honestly just like this greedy, little, you know, manipulative, dishonorable guy who, you know, he kind of worms his way up through the hierarchy and ends up, you know, securing his position as the Shogun of Wano. And imagine you have a president, right? The president of the United States. Let's say, you know, they wanted to just run the country into the ground. Well, that is exactly what we have going on with Orochi and Wano, because, you know, he is destroying the country with all of these, you know, these massive weapons factories and, you know, making life for everybody who lives there absolutely miserable. You know, so an absolute, you know, disgusting ruler, a dictator, super manipulative, greedy. I hate his character design. Everything that he did to Odin, I don't want to spoil anything too much, but, you know, go watch the anime, read the manga if you haven't, because this guy is you know, absolutely terrible. The things that he did to Odin and his family and everything else, absolutely disgraceful. So he belongs here at the number 10 spot. This is already the number 10, and we're talking about fucking Orochi. So that should give you a little bit of credence for what we have going down later down the line. But number 10, Kurozumi Orochi. Alright, so moving into the number 9 spot, we have Fleet Admiral Sakazuki. And what can I really say about this guy, except absolute justice? Oh yeah, no, that's his motto, and kind of how this guy lives his life. So, to sum that up, you know, he has an absolute disregard for human life. He could not care whatsoever who you align yourself with. If you're A, a pirate, B, a marine, or C, a random civilian, he will kill anybody. It doesn't matter, you know, he'll wipe out D, all of the above. And honestly, I mean, it's kind of what made me hate the guy so much, because his motto, it doesn't make any sense. We've seen at the Ohara incident when he wiped out an entire boat full of innocent women and children just because of the potential that there could have been one scholar that maybe got on there. I mean, honestly, it just makes you to look like a scumbag, dude. You're committing, you know, genocide of people. Absolute, you know, disgrace to the Marines, at least in my opinion. And if you thought his actions were bad then, look no further than Marineford, where he ends up, you know, absolutely fisting Ace. It's, and you know, Ace was one of my absolute favorite characters throughout One Piece, so that really didn't give him any points there. And as if it wasn't bad enough, I mean, he, you know, during the entire time too, I remember, you know, there was this one random Marine in the Marineford arc who was trying to become a deserter, and he was really getting ready to, you know, end up like leaving Marineford, and Akainu catches him, and he's like, where the hell do you think you're going? And he's like, no, please, sir. Like, the guy's crying, and he's like, I have a wife and a family. You know, I can't be here. I'm going to die. And oh, Akainu's like, yeah. No, oh, no worries, man. No worries, yeah. And he lets him go. No, you know he doesn't let him go. He absolutely freaking gives him a magma fist to the face, and you know, ends up becoming like a little scorch mark on the sidewalk after, you know, Sakazuki's done with him. you know, an example of him killing a Marine. And also, he would have killed Kobe too, because Kobe spoke up against, you know, what he believed in during the Marineford arc. And if it weren't for Shanks saving Kobe's life, I mean, we would have lost another amazing character, at least in my opinion. So, and as soon as after, you know, the Punk Hazard, after the time skip, he ends up battling Aokiji for the Punk, at Punk Hazard for the Fleet Admiral status, and he ends up winning. And it really just cements his role as one of the key antagonists in the series. And honestly, just the, you know, the exact opposite of what Luffy stands for. So all of these things combined really put him in the number 9 spot on the list. Absolutely hate this guy. Number 8, we have Marshall D. Teach, one of the 4 Yonko, and, you know, currently known as Blackbeard in the series. Teach, to get him started, I mean, he is so interesting in a way, because I can't even define him. He really is an enigma. Just because he really is, he's like a strange brew, you know? I get a little bit of taste of everything that he offers, and it's a little bit of, you know, what is that, cowardice? Yeah, I would say a little bit of cowardice there. I would say absolutely, you know, deceptive. Oh yeah, I can taste a little bit of that. And then what would the last one be? I would maybe say stupidity, because, you know, his actions in the series, he's left himself open for, you know, a lot of backlash in many different ways. Like, you know, for example, when he walked right into Magellan and pretty much would have been wiped out if it weren't for Shiryu. But aside from that, you know, the guy is an absolute scumbag and, you know, very deceptive in that way. I think we first meet him in Mocktown, where he's actually not really a crazy antagonist at this point. You know, his placement in the series was almost a little bit minor. You know, we weren't really... We were kind of building up to where Teach was going from, but we weren't really aware of it at the time, of, you know, just how malicious this guy really is. You know, if Blackbeard had not beaten Ace that day, we wouldn't have had Marineford. So, I mean, that was one of the greatest arcs in One Piece, so maybe we could thank him a little, but at the same time, it ended up for Ace dying, so, you know, also kind of like a hit and miss there. But, you know, Blackbeard is absolutely one of the most evil characters, and he's really building his role up right now to be the final antagonist, like a guy that you know, you love to hate. Whenever he makes an appearance in the series, you know that some shit is going down. Honestly, and every organization that he's been a part of, like Whitebeard's crew, backstabbing Thatch, killing him just so he could steal the Yami Yami no Mi and get his powers. You know, becoming one of the warlords and betraying the organization just so we could, you know, get the Yonko status. Super devious in his nature, and honestly, that's the real reason why he's on the list today, because all of his actions in the series, they really paint him as a deceptive piece of crap. So I love to hate this guy. I think he's a great antagonist, but I do hate his character, and I would love to just see, you know, Luffy give him like a red hawk to the face, give him, you know, while he's laughing in his Zehaha laugh style. But anyway, that's number 8 on the list, Marshall D. Teach. In the number 7 spot, we have King Stelly from the Goa Kingdom. Can I just premise this by saying, fuck Stelly? You know, let's just talk about his character design first. He's a little bowl-cut-headed, you know, weird-looking guy, you know, who really only cares for himself, and could care less about anybody else. He's an absolute coward, and of course, you know, he has like such a grand sense of like, you know, like, oh, you know, I'm the most important person in the room. Look at me. Oh, I you know, such a like, he really does think he's like, you know, the most self-important character in the One Piece universe. And it's like, dude, you're a little pissant. Nobody likes you. Nobody cares about you. And of course, I mean, you know, going into his character traits too, all that he wants to do is become a celestial dragon. And you gotta love when Garp meets him, and he's just standing in the middle of the road. He's like, oh, don't you know who I am? I'm King Stelly. And Garp's like, get the hell out of my way, you little bitch. And it's like, you know, it's just such a good scene, because honestly, like, and you get like Stelly's like face fault, and it really is, you know, good to see somebody put the guy in his place. again, he's an absolute coward, has like some of the most evil ambitions out there to actually want to become a celestial dragon. And again, you know, just the way he's treated Sabo over the series, you know, he really is one of the worst characters in my opinion. And I think, you know, some good character development for him would be maybe if Sabo gives him like a little, you know, fire fist to the face. I think that would be, oh my gosh, that would make his character so much better in my opinion. Oda, I hope you're listening. I hope you write that in one day, because I would love to see it happen. But anyway, that's Stelly coming in the number 7 spot on the list. We are getting into the real garbage now, guys. So, you know, get ready to start wading your way through shit, because coming in at the number 6 spot, we have Hody Jones. And holy shit, I hate this character. Oh my god. You know, he's just discount fat Arlong. Nobody likes this guy. Yeah, he is an absolute piece of crap. And I remember during the Fishman Island arc, I was hoping for so much more of an antagonist. I had so many, you know, grand hopes, because if you remember, back, you know, in the serialization of One Piece, they were hyping up Fishman Island for such a long time. And when it came around, it kind of fell flat for me. And that reason is Hody Jones. And, you know, just to start off, I knew this character was trash the minute that he battled Zoro and fucking lost to him underwater in his own realm. I knew he was garbage right then. I was like, man, get this cannon fodder out of here. I don't want to see this guy. Yeah, you know, I mean, imagine having to rely on, you know, outer environmental circumstances and steroids to win a fight. You know, you know that you're weak-willed and you're a little bitch if you have to do that stuff. And let's get into those things. I mean, all he does is take those energy pills half the time, and he still freaking sucks. He eats those things like I eat freaking wheat thins, alright? This dude is eating them by the handful. Kids, don't do drugs. If anything else, if you learn anything from Hody Jones, don't do drugs. You know, overall, he's such a weak character. Just a, you know, a fat version of Arlong. Arlong was so much better for so many different reasons. Yeah, Hody Jones at number 6. Number 5, we have Treble. Treble is the most annoying and disgusting character that I have ever seen in One Piece. And I mean that. If I could kill Treble and reincarnate his devil fruit, and I would take the devil fruit and I would put it into a box, and I would put a fat padlock on that box, and then I would proceed to throw that box into the ocean, into the darkest depths, in the crevices of the ocean, so that nobody could have that devil fruit ever again. Because let me tell you, that is the most disgusting, you know, and most annoying character ever. You know, the mucus, the sticky fruit, so gross. Everything when he moves, you know, just the sound effects that follow him are so disgusting. He always has mucus and snot dripping from both nostrils. It's just like, the man has like, you know, sticky crap coming from every orifice of his damn body, and it is nasty. And if that wasn't worse enough, his character design, man, and his voice, holy shit, yeah, Dolphy, yeah. Oh, having to listen through that all throughout the Dressrosa arc, I mean, holy crap, dude, it was way too much. And not only that, I mean, when you finally figure out, when he's finally defeated at the end, and you see, you know, because he looks like this imposing figure almost, but then you realize he's just a skinny little man inside of a sack of mucus the entire time, and it is just absolutely disgusting. I hate the way he moves, I hate the way he drips down from, you know, the walls and everything. Absolutely disgusting trash character, super annoying, and I hope to never see him again. Alright, so in the number 4 spot, we have Charlotte Flambe. And, you know, let's just pause on One Piece for one moment and go to real life. Let's say there was a celebrity or somebody that you looked up to, okay? Somebody that you really valued and respected. And then, maybe you figure out something that you didn't know about them before, okay? Maybe you figured out that they had a tattoo of a donkey on their forehead, but you didn't know about it because they wore their hair down. Are you going to judge them differently? Are you going to treat them like a monster because they may have, you know, some physical attribute that you weren't aware of? Well, I would certainly hope not, because if you did, you would be exactly like Flambe, and you would be in the number 4 spot on this list. Because Flambe, what she does to Katakuri is so disgusting, she's so vain, and so pathetic and pitiful in nature. As soon as she sees, you know, because she held Katakuri in such a grand, you know, in the limelight, she loved him, and as soon as she figures out that, oh, Katakuri has, you know, a little bit of a, you know, a scar on his face with a, you know, he's got a pelican eel mouth. Oh my god, he's so disgusting. Well, you know, I mean, how vain can you be? How disgusting are you, Flambe? You know, do you have no shame that you would judge somebody for their physical appearance like that? I mean, get the hell out of here. That is like, you know, so fucking shallow that you would do something like that. Honestly, and even before she'd done that, I didn't like the character. I didn't like her personality. I didn't like her design. She's like, oh, I'm the cutest little sister in the Charlotte family. Oh, look at me. I'm Katakuri's favorite sister. And no, you're not. Nobody likes you, Flambe. And especially because of your actions afterwards. I mean, and then she goes to spit on Katakuri's face. Spits her disgusting chewed up wad of gum on his face. And I mean, all of her actions, I absolutely hate her. She is one of the worst characters in the series. I hope that she makes an appearance on Wano at some point, maybe so that Kaido can just, you know, take his freaking club and fucking smash her. But, you know, maybe I'm not that lucky. But, you know, if she doesn't make an appearance, good. If she does make an appearance, I hope it's that, you know, so that she can get killed off. That would be great. I mean, Oda, please, get rid of these characters. You know, Flambe, you made the list. Good for you. This far, we are at the top 3 of the list. And in the number 3 spot, we have Chief Spondum of CP9. To start off, I honestly had, you know, towards the beginning of the arc when we were introduced to him, I really did think that he was going to be kind of a comic relief villain, like Buggy in some ways. But we ended up getting one of, you know, my least favorite characters in the series. Just because, you know, solely for his treatment of Robin. How could you do something like that to Robin? You know, Robin deserves so much better than, like, you know, than what she ended up getting in that arc. Spondum, I remember, you know, distinctly him punching Robin in the face, shoving her head into the pavement, and calling her a piece of shit while kicking her on the ground over and over, and saying, nobody's coming to save you, nobody values your life, you are meaningless, you are a worthless piece of trash, essentially. And you know, it made me really, like, hate this guy so much more for these reasons. You know, of course, we end up seeing him getting everything that he deserves when Robin, you know, clutches him and absolutely, you know, literally, I mean, I think they show it, and it like snaps his entire spine in half. But of course, you know, we see him after the 2-year time skip, and I mean, he's walking somehow, I don't know how, after his whole spine decided to collapse, but anyway, he's walking and, you know, working with Lucci as his little, you know, his little messenger boy, I think like the little errand bitch or something like that. But I can't wait for the day when Spondum is, you know, so unfortunate enough to come across the Straw Hats again so that they can just give him a royal ass beating. You know, I would love to see it. You know, Spondum, good job, buddy. You made number 3 in the list. You are absolutely hated in my book. So, congrats. So, in the number 2 spot, we have Saint Charlos. Yes, you heard me right. The number 2 spot, not the number 1 spot. I know, it's a big shocker, right? But he rightfully deserves his place on this list in number 2 because he is a piece of shit, you know? Number 2, get it? Haha. Okay, I'm sorry. But, you know, getting into his character, he's just, you know, an absolute piece of shit being born into the nobility. He's, like, such an inbred, like, you know, racist, limp dick looking loser that you hate right away. You know, walking through the streets with his slaves, literally fucking carrying him, with like his nose running, and I mean, he must have like the IQ equivalent of a potato. He's so stupid. You see him in the auction house, just blowing hundreds of millions of berries for the simple fact that he wanted to buy Kami, who was the mermaid hanging out with Luffy at that time, and for the sole purpose so that he could feed her 2 piranhas. I mean, like, does your cruelty know no ends, dude? Like, why would you do that? you know, he really is just one of the worst characters, and every single action that he takes in the series makes you detest him a little bit longer. I remember when he shot Hachan in the auction house for the simple reason that Hachan was a fisherman. You know, and he's like dancing around like, oh, Chichiwe, I caught an octopus, haha, and he's like dancing around, laughing, you know, because he shot Hachan, and it really makes me think that, you know, Arlong was justified for some of his thoughts of like, you know, wow, these people are so damn racist, like, I can't deal with it. It almost makes me feel bad for Arlong a little bit after seeing some of that stuff. But the most satisfying thing regarding St. Charlos was obviously when, you know, Luffy stepped up and, you know, absolutely fucking rocked him. He punched him so hard that it sent the dude flying back into the manga. I'm not even kidding you. It literally shows like a white flash as if this man is getting punched back into the beginning stages of his character being written. And I smile every single time that I see it. It's one of my favorite scenes in One Piece, actually. And it was so well deserved. St. Charlos, number 2 on the list. Alright, you've made it. The number 1 spot on my list. Spoilers for chapter 908 and on. If you haven't seen that, you know, maybe don't watch this, because this character flipped everything we knew about the One Piece world on its head just by his appearance alone, okay? So the number 1 spot for the character that I really hate the most is Im-sama, okay? And I'm going to explain to you why I feel this way. Because when I wrote this list at first, I originally had St. Charlos as number 1 on the list, okay? There was no question about it. But the more I thought about it, I realized just what a piece of shit Im-sama potentially is, right? I know we don't know a lot about him, but the things we do know paints a very dark picture about how the world government has been run. So, before, we had only had the insight that the Gorosei were running things behind the show. And this is true to a certain point, okay? But the Celestial Dragons and the World Nobles, all of them, they're at the top. But we didn't realize what a dictatorship the world government was. So, you know, Im is the one who sits on the throne that nobody should sit on, okay? He's up there, and even the Gorosei, they have such a, you know, a respect for him, such reverence, that they get on their hands and knees and bow to him, and they talk about, you know, this grand cleansing, sir, you know, oh, Imu-sama, you know, which country would you like us to be extinguished, and so on. And just all of these extremely dark things. You know, Im-sama has the potential to be hiding all of this stuff about the Void Century, because obviously the world government knows all about it. I'm assuming Im-sama knows as much, okay? And his spot on here is not based on an assumption. There are actual things where you can just tell. I mean, you know, for them to say the grand cleansing, we know then, right away, that Im-sama has been behind a lot of, like, the world government's most, you know, notorious handiwork as far as, you know, eliminating countries. Like, oh yeah, you remember what that country Ohara was? Yeah, me neither, man. I don't know what that is. Because they destroyed it because they knew too much. And so, you know, honestly, I think that Im-sama has the potential, I mean, he's hiding behind this grand illusion that, you know, the Gorosei are running everything, and meanwhile he's calling the shots for absolutely everything, and they hold him in such reverence that he honestly is probably the most evil character in One Piece because of all of his inactions. All of these characters that do listen to him, if Im-sama wanted to change something about how the world government was being run, he could do it, right? The Celestial Dragons, how they've been living life, such pig-headed, lavish, and posh lifestyles. If Im-sama wanted to, he could change those things, alright? He could actually make the world government a better place. But obviously, we've seen how the world government is, how they operate, and everything that's been such an illusion. You know, the reverie. Oh yeah, we have all, you know, the king from the Protons Kingdom, Elisabello II. Oh yes, Cobra. You know, from like, you know, the Nefertari family. Oh, we'll look into your request on this and this. You know, all of it is lip service coming from the world government. They don't do anything that any of the kings say around the country. So Im-sama is, you know, purposely deceiving freaking nations and countries and all of these world leaders and all of these people are affected by his actions. Him and these grand cleansings. He's affecting the lives of millions of people in the One Piece world. So, honestly, you know, you can't put anybody else at the top of this list because Im is responsible for, you know, probably all of the worst things that have happened in the One Piece world. So, you know, that's my opinion on his character and what we know so far. It's been, you know, a window has been opened, and I've really been enlightened into this. And the more you think about it, the more dark things come up as far as the Void Century, the illusion of the Reverie, and what it means for the One Piece world, and just how the world government has actually been operating this entire time. So, that's my number one on the list. If you guys have anything different, you know, please comment down below what you guys think. Again, you know, this is just my list and my personal hated characters of all time and how they've affected me and what I got out of it through, you know, reading the manga and watching the anime. But you guys might have something different than me, and viewpoint diversity is a great thing, so as long as we're all respectful, obviously, you know, go ahead and comment down below and let me know what you guys think. And if you liked the video, maybe you could give me a like, I guess. I have like 0 subscribers at this point, so... and this is my second video I've ever made on YouTube. But again, this has been Anime Analysis. I hope you guys all have a good day. It's been such a pleasure to have all of you here. And subscribe if you're interested. Thanks for watching.